Show business careers have their ups and downs, their successes, setbacks, sometimes comebacks. Well, our next couple of stories have some of the same elements, but they're not about people, but about a place, really an area, the towns and the neighborhoods of North St. Louis County. Patrick Murphy starts things off with a story that's not so much about history, but about memories.
The baby boomers have finally racked up enough mileage to wax nostalgic about the good old days. Two former North County kids, Craig Kaintz and Bill Kasalko, have written a book about their days growing up there in post-war suburbia. They took me on a tour of their old stomping grounds to show me the sights and share some memories.
I think the charm of it was really very reminiscent of the old TV show Happy Days. It was great being out here from the standpoint that there was less traffic, it was wide open spaces, you could go to shopping centers with your bike, you could run down a restaurant, meet friends at a field to play. It was very accessible.
Today there are still remnants of North County's early history, like Fort Bellefontaine, the first U.S. military post in the Louisiana Territory. The General Daniel Bissell House, built in 1812. The old Mississippi River castles pulling in water for the city. And this blacksmith shop, shaky but still standing along Bellefontaine Road since 1875. But when Bill and Craig grew up here, cornfields and farmhouses were giving way to subdivisions, malls, and fast food restaurants. Teenage memories tend to revolve around food, and there was plenty of it. Burgers at Circle Steak and Shake, onion rings at Ponticello's, sliders and belly bombers at White Castle. Hot spots included Ed's Barbecue, the Goody Goody Diner on Natural Bridge, and A&W Root Beer on Hall's Ferry, or a slice of cool and delicious from Sam the Watermelon Man.
Haven't you heard about the guy known as a cheater?
Those were the days when you could catch Bob Cuban and the Inmen at a Teen Town or CYC dance. And Ike and Tina Turner at Club Imperial. You could play putt-putt and ride the magic carpet slide in North Lindbergh. Bowl and play pinball at Suburban Lanes. Watch the Blob or Rodan at the Rio. Or hide your buddies in the trunk and slip into the Olympic Drive-In for a racy movie.
And I have to add drag racing to the discussion, because if you look at this bridge and the width of this bridge, people look at it and say, how did two cars ever get by on a bridge like this? But there was quite a bit of drag racing on this bridge as well as on Hull Street. And this bridge has, as most people know, a pretty sharp bend in it called Dead Man's Curve. And there's been several stories over the years of people who didn't quite navigate the curve going at shall we say, a high rate of speed. But this was a popular place to hang out.
Or you could get your thrills on a summer day on the bluffs above the Chain of Rocks Bridge at one of the region's biggest amusement parks.
So no park here now, mostly houses, but this was the
Right.
Chain of Rock Amusement Park?
Right. This was the site of the Chain of Rocks Amusement Park, or the Chain of Rocks Fun Fair Park was the other name it had. And in its heyday, this was the Six Flags of the day.
Great roller coaster?
Yeah, great roller coaster. They used to have a big wooden roller coaster, and that eventually, I think, either they tore it down, I don't believe it burnt down, but then they built the Mad Mouse. It wasn't all that big, but when you got on the Mad Mouse, the first thing it did was turn right and headed really what looked like to go over the cliff to the river, down to Riverview Drive, and then it made a sharp right turn. And then kind of took you on some twists and turns. But that was the popular roller coaster at Chain of Rocks, the Mad Mouse.
A lot of lunches lost on that curve.
I would guess. Yeah, that was a pretty wicked curve, right? And then there was Holiday Hill over by the airport. A little smaller scale, but another popular place.
I've heard stories this was a great place to go parking, too.
Yeah, well, my partner Bill can tell those stories. I can't relate to that. But, yeah, there's some rumors about young men and young ladies coming up here, because it was kind of dark around here, and parking on some of these side streets. So personally, can't relate to it. But
I'm sure, no, of course not.
But if any activity defined 50s and 60s teenage suburbia, it would have to be the fine art of cruising. And Chuck-a-Burger on the Rock Road was one of the prime stops to spend your allowance and show off your ride.
Chuck-a-Burger, it was built in 1957, and this is one of the original cruising restaurants in North County.
If you come to North County, it's Chuck-a-Burger. You mention the word, and everybody, you're going to go for a burger, and they got to go for Chuck.
cruising was a culture of a sort back at that point in time. You kind of had to define what was the best time of the evening to drive through, what your car had to look like to really pick up girls, and how long you wanted to stay at one particular place, because you really didn't want to grow moss on one particular restaurant for very long.
And if you pulled in, you didn't order anything, then sooner or later the car hop would come up saying, you're going to order something, you're just going to sit here, and if not, you better move on. And so then it was time to maybe go to another place to cruise through there.
And even if the photos are a little blurry and our memory is selective, a look back brings some clarity and simplicity to that crazy time of life we call growing up.